Thank you. So you have so many followers across so many platforms. I want to know, as an influencer, entrepreneur, actress, how did you get started?
I actually got started in college right after high school. One of my friends had a dream to pursue photography. So he was like, "Can you model for some photos while I learn?" And I was like, "I have no clue what I'm doing, but sure." And then I started posting those photos on Instagram and started to grow a following and really quickly realized that it is a business more than anything. I was studying business in college at the time in San Diego, and I just became really passionate about it. It was something different. It was something there was no class on. I really invested a lot of time into that. And then I actually ended up joining a content group in Huntington Beach called AMP. And from there, I focused more on YouTube and started growing all the other elements of social media. But I really just fell in love with it. I ended up leaving college, quitting my job with like negative $30 in my bank account to just pursue this and give it 100%. And I'm definitely glad I did because it worked out.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, you recently left the AMP group after 4 years, and you're kind of moving on to the next chapter of your life. You moved to LA. Tell me a little bit about how this transition's been and how that's been going for you.
Yeah, it's been a really exciting transition. Obviously, I was pretty nervous at first. It was a huge transition to leave the comfort of a group and go out on my own, but it's something that I really wanted to do. And I didn't want to look back one day and be like, well, what if I had tried it out? I'm always down to just completely fail as long as I know that I tried something. So I moved up to LA, I left the group, and it's definitely been a great experience. I'm definitely really happy I did it. I'm standing on my own 2 feet. I'm figuring things out for myself, and I have so much more time to invest in myself, getting to know myself and getting to know my content better. So it's been
Absolutely.
exciting.
That's incredible. Do you have any goals for 2023 that you can share? I heard maybe acting, singing on the horizon.
Yeah, I've been working on putting some music together, trying to dive back into acting now that I do have so much more time from leaving the group. And then definitely working on my brand, Hugz, and just working on more content and probably more traveling.
Absolutely. Do you ever find that you get stuck trying to figure out what content you want to come up with as a
Yeah,
creator?
absolutely. I think that's one of the biggest challenges as a creator is the burnout and, what ideas haven't been done yet? What ideas have I not done yet? And then even just trying not to focus on those numbers where you're like, man, this idea isn't doing well. This idea isn't doing well. Like, what am I going to do? Because, you definitely feel that pressure to try to please people and you really want people to enjoy those videos to the best of their ability. That's why I started as a creator. I wanted people to be able to take time and like enjoy a video, laugh at a video, cry at a video, and just take them away from whatever they've just been thinking about, stressing about, going through in life. Because that's what so many fun shows and YouTubers did for me.
Absolutely. Me too, actually. And I was recently watching a couple of your travel vlogs. So I wanted to ask you, is there any moments that have stood out to you? You've traveled in so many places. I watched the Orient Express vlog that you did. Yeah, which is super cool. And I wanted to ask you, is there any travel moment that stood out to you that you're like, wow, like I'm here?
I definitely think all of them have kind of just taken me back. I mean, the first time I went to the Maldives, I actually just sat outside with my jaw like on the floor for like an hour. I just didn't know how to process the fact that it was real. I grew up in a family where, we didn't really have like the means to travel. We were focused on, food, shelter, those kind of things. So I saved up, and the second I had enough tip money, I went on my first trip to Hawaii, and then now leading to going to places like the Maldives, even further away. It's definitely been a crazy experience. And I feel like I've learned so much from each place I've gone and getting to know the people over there and the ways of life and how incredible the school system is in like Finland or how amazing the food is in Italy. I feel like each thing I'm just in shock, really grateful, and really excited to like experience more stuff and go on even more trips.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I heard that you had a near-death experience when you were 17, and I know that you have a very positive outlook on life because of that. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So unfortunately, when I was 17, I did end up in the hospital from an illness. I spent like my whole summer as a junior in high school in the hospital, pretty much trying to recover. And it was definitely a long recovery process that actually ended up sparking panic attacks for the first time for me. So it was a whole new mental illness game that I had to learn how to recover from. And, it was one of those moments where I was like, well, I can live with my mom for the rest of my life and never leave the house, which is what my anxiety wants to do right now. Or I can work through this with therapy, coping skills, figuring out what works for me, and I can go accomplish those dreams. But definitely being that close to death really opened my eyes to the fact that I feel like we all make plans to be grandparents, but sadly we're not guaranteed that time. So I definitely try to do my best to live out those experiences the best I can, so that hopefully the next time I am in a hospital bed, or the next time I'm like probably gonna die, hopefully not for a long time, I'm like ready to go and like proud of the life I lived.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really beautiful, and I totally feel the same there with you. Now, we just finished the holidays. It can be a hard time for people. I want to
Yeah.
talk to you about, how you kind of opened up with your journey. I heard that you were bullied in high school. Tell me about why it's important for you to share these stories with people.
Yeah, I definitely have struggled with mental illness from a very young age. Depression, OCD, then anxiety and panic attacks. And I was severely bullied in school to the point where my parents actually had to like move me for safety concerns. And, I noticed that I looked up to these people online, but I thought I was the only one struggling. There was such a stigma. I mean, just like 5, 10 years ago, where it was almost like people felt that it was contagious if you talked about it. I would share something with a friend and they would be like, oh my gosh, that's so weird, and maybe distance themselves from me. And then, no one I looked up to was talking about it. So I was like, wow, I'm the only one. And that created such a feeling of alone, which I think was honestly more dangerous than anything else. So definitely for me, it's been so important to talk about mental illness, talk about my story, talk about the fact that maybe these young people watch my videos, maybe look up to me, but it's like, it hasn't always been like this. I still struggle with panic attacks sometimes when I'm overseas on a trip. And hopefully that can give them the strength to hold on, to follow out their dreams, go to the places they want to go, and even just help to really destigmatize that conversation.
Absolutely. Is there anything that you found that you can share maybe that helps you? Like whether it's even going to the gym or something that maybe could help someone out there who reads or listens?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it was like trial and error. I've noticed I have way less anxiety when I'm working out, even if I'm just going on like a walk with my dog, put my headphones in and listen to some music. That's made the biggest impact for me. And then having like a mental toolbox in my brain for those moments where I do have panic attacks, deep breathing. I used to have like silly putty that I played with. And then that's also why I worked on my weighted stuffed animals, because now sometimes I'll travel with them and lay them on my chest and really let like the weight help calm me down.
I was actually going to ask you about hugs. Can you tell me, a little bit about what inspired that, and, what you hope to bring people? I mean, I guess it's kind of self-explanatory in a sense, but I'd love to hear the story behind that from you.
Yeah, one of my friends gifted me a weighted blanket a few years back, and I'd never heard of it. And I was like, this is so cool. And I noticed that it actually like really made a difference for me. So I dove into the research about how the weight calms your parasympathetic nervous system, which helps reduce stress, anxiety, can help with sleep. It has like so many benefits. And, it's not a medication with side effects. It's just like a natural way to calm your body. So I was like, what if we took, this giant weighted blanket that you can't really take anywhere, put it in a more portable, more affordable, more cute version of something, and then even furthering with that, trying to use something as cute as a stuffed animal to really destigmatize the conversation even further, where it's like, oh, that's so cool. It's just your emotional support friend. And then that's also why I do donate a percentage of proceeds to a kids' mental health foundation, just doing everything we can to really make as big of an impact as possible.
That's incredible. Is that one behind you there?
Yeah, this is the elephant. I always leave him on my bed with me so I can sleep with him.
So sweet. Did you name this one at all? Just out of curiosity?
Yeah, I gave them all names, but they actually all come with like a little birth certificate inside, like to
Oh,
name them yourself. I just thought it was like a fun thing to add to the experience of opening them. We worked so hard on the packaging and everything. It was like, you can't just throw something in a plastic bag. When you order a package you're excited about, like you want it to be a whole experience. But his name is Eugene,
I
my
love
elf.
it. I love it. I was a big Build-A-Bear fan when I was a little girl,
Yeah.
so I feel like this is kind of the adult version of that. So
Yeah,
I love that.
exactly.
I love
I know.
that.
I love Build-A-Bear.
Me too. Now, I want to know, you have so many followers and you're getting so many comments all the time. How do you deal with, especially someone who was bullied in high school, and I was too, so I understand and I relate. How do you deal with some of, the internet trolling with like in some of the negative comments that how do you deal with that?
It's definitely hard. I mean, it's funny because one of my kind of mentors who used to coach me in singing growing up always told me, she's like, life is just conditioning you right now. All the bullying, all the trauma, life's just conditioning you to do something great. And I didn't believe her at the time, of course. I was like, she's just saying that to make me feel better. But I definitely look back on that conversation now, and I think it did condition me. I'm a lot stronger. Things don't get to me as much as they used to. And then also just understanding where it comes from now that I'm a bit older and I have more of that awareness where I'm like, no happy person is leaving a negative comment. I just wish them the best and I hope they find happiness. And that's something I try to preach to anyone that follows me and watches my stories is it's so hard to get that kind of hate, that kind of bullying. Don't ever discredit how hard that is on people, but knowing that they're coming from a place of pain and that it's really never about you when you're getting the comment. Sometimes that helps me, but yeah, I just send love and peace and just try not to like think about it, just move on to the next part of my day.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I feel like that's really good advice even to other creators, because I've always wondered that, they're getting notifications all the time, and I see comments that people leave sometimes too, and even I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I wanted to ask you that because I was genuinely curious about it. Now, I wanted to ask you what advice you would give to your younger self.
Well, definitely that for one thing. But I probably give myself the advice that, not everyone is judging you. Not everyone is like paying so much attention to you. Not everyone's actually hating on you, and to just be more of like my authentic self and not be so scared, because I was such a shy kid and the bullying definitely only made it worse. But yeah, I feel like when you're going through those teenage years, you're like, everything I do, you feel like it's the end of the world, or you feel like everyone's always looking at you. But just do what you want to do. If you want to do something that you feel people will make fun of, do it anyways. Do it with love, do it with kindness, take care of yourself, have conversations with people, build those relationships where if you notice that you feel like you can really be yourself with someone, spend time with that person more than the person that may seem like super cool. But yeah, and just remembering that time goes by really quick, and sometimes the best years of your life are when you get out of school. So fight to get through that. There were a lot of times that I just ate lunch with my math teacher, Mrs. Haytack, and it got me through a solid year of school. And now I'm looking back and I'm like, you know what, Mrs. Haytack was a lot cooler than any of the other kids in school. So there's no shame in that. But yeah,
No,
just
I believe it.
get through it. Time goes by so quick, the bad times and the good times. So before you know it, you'll be living out your dreams somewhere.
On that note, is there any advice that you would give to content creators now who are just trying to start out? Do you think there's room in the space for them? What kind of advice would you give to them?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there's always space in every field. We always need great new doctors. Why wouldn't we need great new people to make us videos and make us feel some kind of amazing feelings? I think the biggest thing is just getting started. I have so many friends that are like, I wanna do this. What kind of camera equipment do I need? Maybe I'll start next month, when I get this new editing software. And I'm like, just start. You got to feel that fear and you got to jump off that cliff and do it anyways. So just get started. Just start posting content with whatever phone you have. It doesn't have to be high quality. Some of my favorite videos on TikTok are clearly taken on like a blurry phone screen, just a real moment happening. So it's like you don't need everything to be perfect. Just get started. You'll get better. Ariana Grande's first song wasn't a hit. No one's first video is probably going to be a hit, but just get started. Find that motivation. Find what drives you. Keep going with it. Lean on other creators and try not to let any negativity get to you, because those people are just hurting on the inside. They don't actually hate your content.
No, totally. That's incredible advice. I absolutely love that. I want to ask you, your YouTube videos, you end with a quote. Why did you want to start adding a quote at the end of your videos?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wanted to start adding a little bit more of kind of that like mental health to my videos without it coming on too strong or too overwhelming for the people that maybe don't really want to have that conversation yet. And for me, I love like the quotes on Instagram that are just in like cute font and like colorful, and some of those have just like really like stopped me in my tracks during my day and given me some food for thought. So I thought it would be cool to include some of those powerful quotes and hopefully help people think through some stuff, get through their day, just something. But I thought it was like a nice spin on including that mental health conversation while not being too powerful, and then hopefully just giving some people some like positive food for thought.
Is there anywhere that you haven't gone yet that you would like to?
Yeah, I mean, so many places. I want to go to like every country in the world at some point. That'd be crazy. But this year, I really, really want to go to Africa. I think there's so many amazing things about the culture, the natural wildlife there, things that I've never seen before. I really want to go to Thailand finally, parts of Asia, Japan, but it's definitely a long list. I just kind of pick a few for the year and try to plan around it and book my flights early so they're a bit more affordable, find like a trustworthy, safe person to go with. But yeah, I slowly want to make my way around as much as I can in the world.
I'm with you there. Definitely want to travel more. What's the rest of your plan for the year? Can you give me like a little scope? Do we have any like possible surprises happening? It's just gonna be more travel. What's kind of going on?
I'm definitely one of those persons that like I have a lot of passions in a lot of different areas. So investing a lot of time, energy, love into Hugz, obviously, and coming out with some like new exciting stuff. Definitely finally pursuing music, focusing on that. And then more travel, more content across all platforms. I'm a big believer in sometimes making a plan, and the universe laughs at your plans. So sometimes I'll have those goals, but I'll just like ride the wave and see what exciting thing comes along instead. But yeah, I don't have too many crazy plans for this year yet. I'm kind of still trying to figure it out. But yeah, just taking it day by day and seeing where it takes me.
That's amazing. And the last question that I have for you is, if Steven Spielberg were to make a movie about your life, who would you want to play you?
Oh my gosh, I've never actually thought about that. I always love when people's answer to that question, but I've never thought about it. I feel like all my favorite actresses and actors would be too old to play me. Honestly, I've been really loving Jenna Ortega. I feel like she just comes off as one of the most authentic actors I've seen in a long time. And she has this like really exciting, sultry darkness about her character in Wednesday. And I feel like that would just be really cool.
Thank you so much, Lexi. It was so wonderful chatting with you.
Yeah, thank you so much.